Now, today I think you have already heard the story. So we are, IBSL is going to have the exam on somewhere in, starting from, everything is in okay, somewhere in October 23rd, right? So we need to uh, have the lecture series schedule more than, beyond October, right? But now, unfortunately, if you are going to have the exam in August, exam on October, so we need to carry, if need arises, we need to carry one or two mm, additional lectures, right? Now, these additional lectures may be most probably afternoon, maybe in the evening, like 6 to 8 or something like that. So we will let you know in due course what are the timetable. Not only my subjects, maybe other subject as well. Without crashing you, we will arrange it accordingly. And if you still not put your application for exam, the deadline is August 15th. So ensure that you process your application for exam for this, for October exam, and the exam may change after that. The syllabus will change next year, right? That is what I want to communicate with you. So be better to do it exam on 23rd, because A level going to happen in somewhere in November. So before that, they have the they have given the uh, they have given the um, they have given the dates, right? Now October 23rd onwards, as far as the country is going like this, they are going to have the exam October 23rd, right? So before that, we want to finish. So that's a message. If you are not apply for exam, please do. Deadline of August 15th, right? So we are going to have two exams, two batches together, right? This time as well, which just took place in the last time, November. Right. Now, with this small note, so that prompted me to go our lectures little faster, because we have some limited time. So where we stopped last time, we discussed the type of clients. We are going to continue from that point. Okay, right. Now, what are the main areas to pursue when opening of a new account? Suppose a customer come to your bank. So what are the, or to open an account, or what are the areas, or what are the things you need to look into, right? I think most of you must be knowing, establishing the identity. The person is come for an account, open an account, you must find it out, the identity through national identity card, driving license, passbook, or any valid proof document, right? Establishing identity. Then you have a usual, if you will fill mandate, so certain information you need to fill, right? That depend on your type of account, maybe FD or savings or whatever, right? Or current account, you may have a different mandate. Then you have the KYC form, right? Now, you know what is KYC. We are going to discuss later on that also. What are the things you need under KYC? The identity, occupation, address, and things like that, right? In the case of corporate account, so you may have some different format. Then duly filled signature cards. So who is going to sign the withdrawal and all things you need to fill. And today you may get a photo also, right? Person's photo also for an account. Then so capacity to maintain account. So that means, so you are not mentally in sound, right? So certain things you need to rectify. That's why sometimes we say, are you robo, right? So they when you try to log into also, they will ask you sometimes, so questions like that. So capacity to maintain your account. Then so if suppose you are, as you well aware that the documents or maybe your identity card or your passport address change with your present location, you need to provide the proof of your residence. For that, your present electricity bill, telephone bill, water bill, or whatever you need to furnish to the management to establish if your address is different from the your original address which represented in your ID card or passport or whatever, right? Okay, then what are the things you need? And operating instructions of a joint account or a corporate account. Who is going to withdraw the money? Who is going to deposit the money? Either party or only you. So operating instructions you need to clearly give. Otherwise, now say for a joint account, right? So only I can take or one of us can take or both need to come. So those are the things we need to look in. Then sometimes when you open an account, there may be a minimum balance requirement. You need to agree now. Certain banks, like certain specific savings account also, you need to maintain a minimum balance in your account. Maybe 5,000, 10,000, like that. If you are not maintaining, there may be a debits from that your account for certain amount. So you agree for that minimum balance requirement. Sometimes the bank, but I don't think in government banks do things like that unless otherwise a specific account. But normally government state banks not doing. But certain private bank is doing because maintaining in your account, having a less balances in your account is useless. So are you with me when if I tell you something? Irrespective of the private bank or the government bank or whatever, mostly if you take your portfolio, saving portfolio, 50% of your account holders are maintaining less than 2,000 rupees in your savings account. Right? So it's a survey done by me from banks. Savings account balances of most of the account holders in every bank is less than 2,000. Sometimes 1,000. 50% of the account holders are maintaining more less than 2,000 rupees in your account. That is why sometimes they want to open. Some banks, when you open an account, they say, oh, you need to maintain a minimum balance requirement in your account at any given time. Otherwise, you will be penalized. In how they may deduct certain amount from your existing balance. Okay, right. So then so you need to accept the terms and conditions of the offer issued by the bank. So then it's become a contractual. It is an offer letter. Once you accept it, it's become a legal document, right? And then as far as the company's account or the corporate accounts, you need to have a board resolution, right? And other requirement documents like, business registration, right? Things like that also you need to open a corporate account. Right now, I'm not going to touch on those things because your commercial bank, they talk about different type of account, corporate account. We have individual account, then we may have joint account, then you may have a sole proprietorship account, you may have a partnership account, then you may have a limited liability companies account, then club account, societies account, cooperative account, associations account. Then you may have these are Sri Lanka rupee account, right? Then we may have a foreign currency account like inward investment, so personal foreign currency account, business foreign currency account, then inward investment account and outward investment account. Then you may have execute administrated account, and then you may have NGOs account, government's account, like a many type of accounts, right? So different parties may open different type of accounts. So those things will be touched by the, to my knowledge, the commercial banking. But you also need to know in your finance class management also, there may be a different type of documents, different type of requirement you want at the time of opening an account. So that also you need to remember in my subject as well. Okay, right. Okay, now these are the instances as I explained to you. What are the main areas of pursuit when opening a new account? As far as when you're going to open a current account, you need to have an introduction, right? Today we'll take a photo and all sort of things. At the time of offer. In fact, this is a past question paper, right? I can't remember the year. Maybe in 2018 or 19 March or 18 September, examiner asks you what are the main areas to pursue when opening a new account, right? So remember, this is a past question, right? Then the same question, they tested you. What are the instances where the bank could close an account or banking relationship? Both parties, either bank or customer, both can close the account. Remember that, right? Both can close the account. Now let's look at it. What are the instances? What are the instances where banks can or individual can close an account or ending up with the relationship, right? Let me look at it. First, at the request of the client, you as a client, you have all the rights to close your account. So we have a closing account register. From that also we can check to what extent, because the closing register also give an indication to you. It's a research tool. Why it's become a research tool? Because then you can check why people are closing my accounts. What happened? Most of the people, they keep the minimum balance and then take the money out rather than closing. But it still is like a closing the account. But then it's become a non-operative, it's given to the dormant, like, and then go to the abandoned property. We will discuss all this in later on, right? Okay, so that show how good your clientele, they are satisfied or not, why people are closing the account is a research tool. At the request of the client, customer can terminate his business relationship. Then death of a client also, automatically, once your death of a client, there is no more relationship. Third, bank will close. Now, this is the two occasion, the customer's point of view. Now, bank will close also. Now, can bank close the account immediately? No, bank cannot do it immediately. So, bank will close your account after giving notice due to non-maintenance of minimum balances, etc., etc. So you are not fulfilled the obligation you undertook at the time of opening. So you need to give a well before information, right? Then only you can close. Again, now say if you're having a check account or current account or demand account, your checks are keep on, you're not maintaining your current account properly, right? So you will not conduct your account properly, so bank can tell him and terminate your relationship account. That's the fourth reason. Then maybe due to some statutory or some regulatory reasons, right? So bank can terminate the account. Clear? So these are the instances. These are the 5 instances where a bank could close an account or end up with banking relationship. Clear? Right. So you need to understand that request of the client, death of the client, close the after maintain. Now, say your current account is not properly maintained, so that also you can close the account. Right? Okay. So then it comes the most important thing, the nomination of my bank customers. And this is the important tool a customer is having and bank can offer. But a lot of banks, I've noted that at the time of opening, this is not communicated properly to customers. So the nomination,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah, okay, go
The
ahead.
example for the regulatory reason.
Now, see, sometimes some example, some due to misconduct of your businesses, right? Maybe they found it some guilty and they was asked to close the account, right? Till such time the investigation is over, right? Clear? Certain issues. Understood. Some regulatory issues mean some issues pertaining to income taxes, like or did some burglary or drugs trafficking and all sort of things. Understood, Pudha? Clear?
So
Okay.
thank you.
Right.
Thank you for your answer.
Okay. Right. That's nomination is play an important role, right, in the bank. So this is you need to, because if you are doing law, it's a very important area. Law, you need to know the section 544 of the Civil Procedure Code. Remember, section 544 Civil Procedure Code. It deals with the legal aspect of making nomination to accounts. This is a legal aspect. 544, right? Civil Procedure Act. And this, these nominations procedure was introduced in 1993, right? And for the purpose of streamlining the existing processes and procedure, bank, finance companies, and insurance company. The nomination procedure 544, and it was further amended, and for 541. 2005 Civil Procedure Code 4 of 2005, and this section was extended to cover instrument pertaining to any monetary interest issued by the company or any other bodies. Now I will explain to you on that. Right? If you are not having your uh, paper, please write down. Right? What are the items you can nominate? Now you know what do you mean by a nominate. Now say if you are maintaining a savings account, right? If something happened to you, you can nominate anybody. That's important. Anybody. Other you can nominate other husband, wife also, if you like. Right? Okay. Anybody you can nominate. The important thing is nomination supersede last will. අන්තිම කැමති පත්‍රයටත් වඩා බලගතු පත්‍රය කුමක්ද? නාම යෝජනා පත්‍රය. Right? That's a very important thing. Lot of banks, students, customers, bank staff also not communicate this thing to customers because you don't want to go for hassle this legal procedure. If you're nominated, the nominate person, if something happened to you today, so very next day he can come with all these documents, not necessarily even the documents. You need to prove you are the nominated person for that account, and the bank will justify or rectify your authenticity, and they release the dead person's money to you. Any amount. Remember, any amount. Right, any amount. So let's look at it now. And in earlier, this was only given to National Savings Bank. Right, this facility only available with National Savings Bank. But after amendments only, it is available to all the other banks. right? Remember, so early only NSB having privileged that facility, but later on they will amend it to facilitate all the other institutions, right? As I told you, it is not compulsory. Now remember, it is not compulsory to nominate any person as their nominee, right? That's the important thing. So if you like only, you can do it, right? And nomination can be revoked. Now that's the important thing. That is what is a danger. That is the issue in banks. Your mother with good terms with your younger brother, and all the accounts belong to mother, right? Nominate your younger brother. So after some time, his mother has some problem with that your brother. So she comes to you, and what happened? You also try to put all her accounts under you. So then you have a fresh nomination behalf of you. So then what happened? That for earlier nomination need to be cancelled and can be revoked. That's the issue, right? So applicable the last revoke. Okay, right. And by the customer or by the death of the nominee. Right, revoke. And also, as I explained to you, nomination supersedes last will. Antima කැමති පත්‍රයටත් වඩා වැඩි වේ. So apart from that, I told you, apart from that, savings account balances, FD balances, you can nominate these things as well. So you can write somewhere in your handout. Okay, you can nominate shares. You can nominate life insurance, right? You can nominate any recognized finance company, not only the bank, right? Recognized finance company. Any movable property, you keep it under locker, you can nominate. Okay, right. So those are the important things. Apart from your money. Another important thing is you cannot nominate for current account balances because it's payable on demand, right? You cannot nominate current account. Apart from that, these are the things you can nominate: shares, life insurance, mobile property, any movable property, right? And as well as the current account balances and fixed deposit balances or term deposit balances. Clear? So nomination facility. Right. Now, just look at it in 2017 March, your exam, 2 marks, right? A customer cannot nominate a person of choice for what's the correct answer? What may be the correct answer? Tagal again.
Current account.
Current accounts, right? You get 2 marks. Now you see 2018. My goodness. A customer cannot nominate a person. They are the same question over again. Current account. So now I'll give you a question. A customer can nominate a person of choice for, what's the answer?
All of above.
All of
All.
above. Good. Right. Now these are some tricky questions, right? Good. Now another model question, you can do it at home. Compare savings, term, and demand deposit products. You can have a 3-column savings. Now, for example, I just give a savings account, term, and demand. So first you look at it, what is the feature? Interest rate, right? Nomination facilities availability, take against loans, OD, likewise. So you can have a chart, make it yourself, and keep it with you. Then you can write any answer. I just give your model questions for you to think and write. Okay, right. Now, I think you may having this with you, no? So this question, you're having, no? in your handout? Right, read. This is your 2019 March question number 2. 5 marks for that, huh? 5 marks for this question. Briefly state, 5 marks, right? Briefly state the customer-oriented solution for each of the following incidents by identifying the inconvenience caused to them. Right, that's a one situation. Mrs. NDS called over at the bank. This is our exam, right? NDS called over at the bank with a court order to pay proceeds of a deposit belongs to Mr. DKS. Now, who is coming? Mrs. DNDS, right? Mrs. NDS, wife of DKS. Who is a deceased, right? However, on pursuit of mandate, you have found out that Mr. DKS has submitted a duly filled nomination form in favor of Mr. HNS, his son, along with the fixed deposit at the time of investing. Now, Mr. DKS not trust with your wife, and he may be nominated the money line in his current his FD account with his son, Mr. HNS. Now, Mrs. NDS comes to your bank with the court order and asks for the money. Now, how to write now the question, will look at it, customer-oriented solution. If they say customer-oriented solution, so you have to, if you say the word customer-oriented solution, that means you cannot, what? You have to give your answer without hurting who? Mrs. NDS, right? Mrs. NDS is maybe one of your customer. So therefore, you have to tell why he cannot take the money, despite the fact of court order. Okay, before answering to that, I'll ask from your question. Can Mrs. NDS get the money of Mr. DKS? Yes or no?
No.
No. No. Why not? Because under civil procedure 544, he has already nominated. Now the word, remember here, duly filled. What do you mean by duly filled? That means properly done it without any problem, any doubt. He has clearly mentioned, if I am not here, if I died, so the money has to go to my son, who is, you have to give the declaration. His identity number is so much and the full amount, 100%. Sometimes you can nominate 50% to wife, 50% to son. In that case, the line balances must be divided among the wife or someone, whoever you mention in your nomination form. Otherwise, if you are not mentioned anything, it's belong to entire amount to his son. But there's an issue here, no? What? Mrs. NDS called over not just with the court order. Now, how to write? Now, even the court order, right, the money, because your last will is supersede the court order. But he bring the court order. Now, what you need to write? Now, first you have to say, now you need to give customer-oriented solution. First, we have to say, according to the Civil Procedure Act, when the Mr. DKS has submitted, you have to say duly filled nomination, and then it is belong to his son. Despite the fact of court order, but the nomination is supersede the last will. Right? Okay. So then you need to call Mrs. NDS and explain politely the situation. Right? And then you have to explain. And also you may get the support from your legal department as well, because you bring the court order, no? Therefore, better to usually not necessary, but better to consult your legal division and advise. There's a court order, and they get their verdict as well, and it is a duty of you to inform the respective judge who has given the court order for the courtesy. Because it's a court order, no? You can say send to magistrate or register, whoever said as per your court order number, blah blah blah. So Mrs. India is not entitled to the money as per the bank nomination done by Mr. DK, his son. Therefore, the money is belong to Mr. HNS, not for Mrs. India's. Right? Clear now?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, understood?
Sir, are we authorized to tell the details of the nominee to another person?
Because he bring the court order, no?
Uh-huh.
Now, Mrs. DS bring the court order, no? Clear? She bringing the court order, right? So that's a legal document. But the court order given without knowing that Mr. DKS submitted, already given the nomination to his son. Mrs. NDS may be not aware. This is a one thing. We must be having other things also. But understood? So Mrs. NDS not only come for court order for this one, for all other things. But this particular case, you cannot, we have to, because Mrs. NDS also wife of Mr. DKS, no? Understood? Clear? Right? So you can communicate. That's not the issue. Because of the court order. Right? So better to inform court judge also. There are incidents like this. Any questions now? Any questions? Clear? Any doubt behind that? There are questions like that will come. But what is the legal incident behind that? Is civil proceed as in the nomination, because nomination, remember, every time supersedes last will. Okay? Even for court order. Haridhan? Terunada? Terunaya wage inne okkoma terunaya ow kiyanne. Understood the? අහන්න ඕන තරම් ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න.
එතන මේ හාමුදුරුවන්ට දාන්න බෑ නේද? හාමුදුරුවන්ට කියන්නේ
හාමුදුරුවන්ට මෙතන පොඩි කේස් එකක් තියෙනවානේ. හාමුදුරු ඇක්ට් එකක් වෙන එකක් තියෙනවානේ. Good point you raise. There is a issue on the හාමුදුරුව. හාමුදුරුවන්ට belong එකක් නැහැ. නමුත් හාමුදුරුවන්ට ඔය කේස් එකක් ආවා වගේ කේස් එකක්. Right? හාමුදුරුවන්ට වෙනම තියෙනවා අර වෙනම law එකක් තියෙනවානේ. හරිද? හැබැයි හාමුදුරුවන්ට උනත් දාන්න පුළුවන් එයාගේ property එකට. හාමුදුරු property එකට දාන්නයි බැරි. තේරුණාද? Okay? එයාගේ සල්ලි වලට nominate කරන්න පුළුවන්. අර trust එකක් හාමුදුරුවෝ මේ පන්සල් වල තියෙන ඒවාට බෑ. තේරුණා නේද? Okay? Right.
සර් එතකොට කොහොමද අපි අඳුරගන්නේ හාමුදුරුවන්ගේ property එකක්ද මේ පන්සලේ property එකක්ද කියලා කොහොමද අර
එයාගේ සල්ලි කියලා දන්නවනේ. එයාට දාන්නේ. එයාගේ නමින් දාන්නේ. හරිද?
එතකොට after this is death of
එයාගේ point එක හොඳයි. මම මේක හොඳට තවදුරටත් I also going through this one and with මට I can remember if හාමුදුරුවෝ කේස් එකක් තියෙනවා මෙතන. ඔයගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් මටත් ආවා. right? මට මතක නෑ හරියට. හාමුදුරුවන්ට nominate කරන්න පුළුවන් හාමුදුරුවන්ගේ property එකක් නෙමෙයි. හාමුදුරුවන්ගේ property එකක් නෑ. කියන්නේ මගේ සල්ලි නේ. හරි? savings account එකක් නෑ. එතකොට එයාගේ දාලා තියෙන විදිය අනුව තමයි ඒක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. trust ඉද අරවද මේක. Anyhow, I'll come back to you on next week, right? I will really clarify what is the exact position about that. Clear? Understood? Right? I will come back to you on exactly what happened for Hamdulu. Are they there? Clear then? Okay? Now, how are they? Uttara nani. Okay?
හරියට
Right. Okay. Right. Then on the make case එක බලන්න. ඒකත් ඔබල දාලා තියෙනව නේද? දැන් මේක ඕනේ නෑ මට හරිද මේක නිකන් මම නිකන් ධම්ම ආසාවට මේක ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ ලීගල් එකේ ක්වෙස්චන් එකක් law relating එකේ මේ law paper එකේ ක්වෙස්චන් එකක් මම නිකන් හිතුවා මේක දාන්න ඕනේ කියලා so get an idea Larry is a leading businessman married twice right Larry ඔන්න දෙපාරක් බැඳලා married twice and divorced දෙන්නම divorce කරලා මාරමානේ Larry so but we had children in both such marriages ළමයි හත දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා අපි දෝ දෙන්න හරි අදාළ නෑ හොඳේ කොහමද දෙන්නටම ළමයි ඉන්නවා and he made a last will leaving all his bank fixed deposits in finance companies and banks company shares or whatever in a life insurance policy all his children හරිද දැන් මෙයාගේ ඒ සල්ලි ඔක්කොම finance company තිබුණේ ඒවා life insurance and company shares all are assigned or nominated to their 4 children who married earlier right okay then subsequently after the last will right he got married to a foreign lady Mara man kidding me married to a foreign lady and few months later Mr. Larry suddenly died okay now Larry's children claim all the properties were mentioned in the children's name 4 children together claim from the respective organization right so Larry's widow now the foreign lady now in Sri Lanka whoever disputed such claims she said no this cannot be taken by 4 children are you agree now the question is that can Larry's foreign wife disputed yes or no මේ ලැරි ලංකාවේ ගෑනු දෙපාරක් මැරි කරලා දෙන්නම ඩිවෝස් කරලා හැබැයි ළමයි දෙන්න හරි තුන්දෙනා එක හරි කොහොම හරි ළමයි 4 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා මෙයා නැවත ලැරි ආපහු බඳින්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා මේ ලාස්ට් විල් එකකින් මේ ළමයි 4 දෙනාට එයාගේ තියෙන ප්‍රොපර්ටිස් අර මේකේ සඳහන් කරලා තියෙන ෆික්ස්ඩ් ඩිපොසිට් කම්පැනි ෂෙයාර්ස් ඔක්කොම ළමයි 4 දෙනාට අන්තිම කැමති පත්‍රයකින් ලියලා ඊට පස්සේ මේ මිනිස්සයා නැවත වරක් තව ලේඩි කෙනෙක්ව බැඳලා මාස ගානකින් මේ මිනිස්සයා බැරිලා එතකොට ළමයි 4 දෙනා ඇවිල්ලා බැංකුවට ක්ලේම් කරනවා මේ අපි තමයි ලාස්ට් විල් එකේ ඕනර්ස්ලා තාත්තා අපිව තමයි ලාස්ට් විල් එකෙන් දෙන්න කියලා තියෙන්නේ ඒ නිසා අපිට මේ තාත්තගේ ප්‍රොපර්ටිය දෙන්න කියලා එතකොට ලැරියගේ විඩෝ ඉන්නේ කියන්නේ ෆොරෙන් ලේඩි ඇවිල්ලා එහෙම දෙන්න බෑ කියලා ඔන්න ඔක්කක් දැම්මා that question is a low question right for interesting දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ ලැරි
property value එක කීයද property value එක කීයද
නෑ ඒව ගැන worry වෙන්න එපා අපි property එක නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ පුතා විතර තියෙන්නේ company shares life insurance ඔයා දැන් කියන්නේ 4 million කියලා ඒක කමන්නේ ඒ 4 million හරි මෙයා last will එක ලියලා නැත්තම් තමයි 4 million බලපාන්නේ ඔයාට තේරෙනව නේද දැන් last will එක ලියලා තියෙන්නේ එතන 4 million එක එන්නේ නැහැ ඔයාට තේරෙනවද මම කියන එක
එතන බූදල් නඩුවක් දාන්න ඕනේ නැද්ද
ඕන් බූදල් නඩුව දාන්න ඕනේ නැහැ නේ ඔය last will එකේ කියලා තියෙනවනේ last will එක කියලා නැත්තම් තමයි බූදල් දාන්න ඕනේ ඒ කෙසේ නැතත් විඩෝට පුළුවන් ද මේක ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් කරලා නවත්තන්න ඒකයි question එක right hari case එක මේකයි now in the Sri Lankan's law last will එක automatically නැතිව යනවා එයා තව පාරක් බැන්දොත් case is. So law relating to wills and succession in Sri Lanka. In terms of section 6 of the section 6 of the prevention, if you are doing law, you need to know 6 of the preventions of fraud ordinance. A will can be revoked by the marriage of the testator. ඒ කියන්නේ නැවත වරක් බැඳලා ඉන්නවා නම් එයාට පුළුවන් ඒ අර පරණ last will එක automatically revoke වෙනවා. හරි නේද? clearද දැන්? හරි? last will එක වැඩක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ තව පාරක් බැඳලා හිටියොත්. එහෙමනම් මෙයාට මොකද්ද කරන්න තිබුණේ? මොකද්ද කරන්න තිබුණේ? My question is that what is the best solution need to be done to the done by the Larry?
Put nominations.
Nomination. That's the important thing. Clear? So there's no problem. Once you nominated, it supersedes last will. Clear? Understood now, no? Right. So that means I want to show, and I took this case from your, I can't remember the year, but I will took from your law subject, right? This case. So why I took to show you how important your nomination, because nomination supersede last will. Larry කියලා තිබ්බනම් Larry no problem නේද මේක? So it go to immediately for without any problem. It goes to his 4 sons. Clear? Right. Now remember these type of questions can come in your exam. So only thing you need to look at it, you cannot take the current account balances. But other things, what I mentioned here, shares, safety locker things,
So I have a question.
can take. Okay? Any
So I have a
question?
question.
Yeah, tell me.
So this now after marrying the foreign lady, if he writes another last will, is it?
So that ඉතින් මැරලා ඉවරනේ. දැන් කරලා නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ. They have not done no. They have not done. So then it's valid. Right? But he has not done no.
Okay.
They have not prepared last will with the new lady. Right? Okay? So that was earlier.
So excuse me.
Yeah.
Sir, what's about the certificate of deposits? Is it the same for nominations?
Certificate of deposit, yes, yes. You can do it, but now a lot of banks are not issuing certificate of deposit, right? Because it is cannot be identified now, no, right? Okay, so if you can identify, yes, it's become a certificate of deposit. Also now you need to, according to the new law, you need to mention who is going to do. Earlier, why is certificate of deposit and things like that for get the black money into the system, no? තේරුණා නේද? නම නැතුව එතකොට ඔක්කොම කියලා සල්ලි දානවානේ. දැන් ඉතින් according to KYC and financial transactions and money laundering, so you need to disclose who is having all these things. තේරුණා නේද? Right? Therefore now certificate of deposit is also can be identified. Is it clear? Right. So it's very interesting area, right? So please, I just give you a food for thought. Nomination facility, that's a major advantage the bank's customers are having for their deposits. Okay. Now I'll just give you another question. The same thing what I explained to you earlier. Take one savings demands and term deposits and try to answer the questions. What is the question? Who are the target market for this type of product? And next one, what are the special features or characteristics of savings deposits? Then what are the risks to the customer? What are the risks to the bank? What are the benefits to the customer? What are the benefits to the bank? right? So on that ground, you can write answer to this question as well. Okay, so now I have quoted, don't think I have quoted from, this is the last week. This I'm not affiliated to any bank, but I'm just took some HNBs last week newspaper advertisement. I took a last week newspaper advertisement, right? Last week, well, I can't remember. There is some advertisement published by HNB. Now, look at very carefully this advertisement before I move into next one. The best interest for your FDs, right? 24 months, that means 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, and 5 year deposits. Clear? Right. Now, with this one, I'm going to explain to you what is effective interest rate. What is effective interest rate? Right? What is effective interest rate? Now, what is the effective interest rate here? And this is more than 1 year deposits. What is the effective interest rate? Which column is talk about? Can anybody tell me whether it is the first column, second column, or a third column? What is effective interest rate talk about in this advertisement? Whether it's the first interest rate column, second column, or a third column?
Second.
So first,
Effective interest rate. Which column it shows? Now, this is a classic example, right? I just want to take this this. I thought of put this advertisement and to explain to you what you mean by an effective interest rate. But here, HNB did a wrong thing also, right? But they have to say effective interest rate, but without they are selling effective interest rate, they have just put the figure, correct? But you are supposed to put effective interest rate. So which column, I'm asked from you, which column representing the effective interest rate? First column, second column, or third column?
Third column.
Third column.
third column.
Now, if you look at the first column, so that is the interest rate you're going to get after maturity. After maturity. But honestly, what you are getting here, actually you are getting here for annually 6.3. So now with this backdrop, I'm going to talk to you. Look at all these first column and the third column, and this third one is monthly. So forget about that, right? Forget about that. So that's also important. I will tell you why. Right? Okay. Now, first column, you higher rate, and if you look at the third column, it's called the annual interest rate. That is what you call effective interest rate. The effective interest rate of the deposit is the interest rate that is actually earned on a fixed deposit due to the resulting of compounding over given time period. Now, for a long-term fixed deposit, right? Remember, actually you are getting for year rate is less than your maturity period interest rate. Okay? Clear now? I think you understood what is effective interest rate. So usually effective interest rate can single in can සපල පොලි අනුපාතය. ඇත්තෙන්ම සඵල ලෙස මට හම්බෙන පොලි අවුරුද්දට ඒ කියලා තියෙන ඒක හම්බෙන්නේ මැචියුරිටි. කල්පිරීමේදී ලැබෙන පොලිය වඩා annual ලැබෙන පොලිය අඩුයි. At maturity and effective interest rate. ඒකනේ මේක කියන්නේ annually කියලා. Okay? That තේරුණාද? Right. I will try to explain another question with help of another question, this phenomena. Right. Now just look at it, this question. This question came in your 2017 March. Right? Your past, one of the past question paper. Now your bank has placed an advertisement in the newspapers, name double your investment in 5 years. Similar advertisement you put. If you put 100,000 today, after 5 years, you get 200,000. Now, customer is fascinated. Why? Double karla denni. The customer meets you and asks further details of this, as he is very interested in his product due to doubling the money. Doubling the money. Right? What is the normal interest rate accordingly? Suppose if you want to get double the interest rate, what is your annual interest rate should be? Can you tell me? Anybody?
20%.
20%, exactly. Right. So then, first year, now you say for an example, if you put 100,000 rupees in your account, right, after 1 year, how much you are getting as an interest? Simple, simple. 20%, how much you are getting interest?
20,000.
20,000. Okay, 20,000. Second year, how much you are getting? How much you are getting? Another 20,000. Okay? Clear? Right. Third year, how much you are getting? Another 20,000. Fourth year, how much you are getting? Another 20,000. You are getting another 20,000 end of the fourth year. So then, what is the total interest? How much? 1 lakh. What is your capital? 1 lakh. So you are double the interest. Now my question is, are you losing or not? It is like at maturity. 20% at maturity. What you are losing here? What is your losing?
Compound interest.
Huh? Compound interest. Now, okay, now let's look at it. End of the first year, what is your balance with the interest? 100,000 plus 20. You want to show that? I'll show that, right? I try to come with some important concept, right? You can see a lot of questions asked on this. Right, okay. Now say double, say 100,000. Can you see, no? Right, 20% interest annually. How much you are getting? Interest 20,000. End of the first year. Then second year, what is your initial capital? Now 120,000. No? So then you take 20% for that. How much you are getting? Right, 22,000. Right? So your interest is 22,000. Then the third year, it's add this together. So 142,000 now. 620, you are getting something. End of the day, but normally how much you are getting? 100,000, 20%. 20,000 till 5 years, 20,000, you get 100,000. So double your account after 5 years, right? You are getting 20%. But actually you are not getting that amount. Why? You are losing some compound interest here. This is payable at maturity. Okay? Clear? Understood now? So you are losing your what? So interest rate of the deposit is 20%. The question asking, what is the interest rate of the deposit? Yeah, 20% at maturity. Effective rate of the interest rate, right? Of course, understood, no? Right? Interest rate of the deposit, normal interest rate is 20%. But effective interest rate of the deposit is less than that. Right? It's less than that. Okay. It is important to mention that the interest rate paid on the original capital and no interest on interest is paid under effective rate of interest. Original capital only interest is paid. Right? So you are not charged interest on interest. So it also pertinent to mention that effective rate of the interest is therefore lower than 20%. Now in this case, so it should be what? It should be here 20% and here should be, now if you look at the FDs, if you put the correct rate, double the amount, 60-20 at the first one, and annually it should be less than your effective rate because you are losing that is why they are showing less amount here. Okay, clear the right? Understood? Because you are losing if the money invested in double in 5 years. So that means that the banks pay 20% per annum and the interest is paid at maturity. But but if your annual effective rate, that means the annual effective rate is lower than the 20% because you have not taken into account the interest component getting every year. That is why they say interest paid at maturity. If you are really going through annual basis, you are losing, you are adding some interest element for your capital in the second year when you're calculating your interest rate. Arida, Terunada, keep quiet. Terunata I will explain to you again. So therefore, remember, so that is why central banks mentioning always when you advertise for a fixed deposits or any interest rate advertisement, you need to mention the effective annual rate in your advertisement. Harida Terunada, why you keep quiet? Terunatakian, I will explain it again. Harida, okay, right? මට පේන්නේ නිකන් සද්ද නෑ වගේ. Clearද? Okay පුතා? කාලිංග? Okay? කාලිංග? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. Sure, no? Right. I hope සද්ද නැතුව ඉන්නකොට මම හිතනවනේ තේරුන්නේ නෑ වගේ කියලා. Clear, no? Right. Now you understood clearly. Now you see there is a theory part. I will now, you need to, if you are not having in your handout, please write down this theory. This one. Now, your published rate for the 1 year fixed deposit is 10. What is your annual effective rate for 1 year deposit? I ask a simple question because if you want, please write down this one. Suppose your annual rate, so your deposit, the bank will publish your annual rate, 10% per year. What is your effective rate? What is your annual effective rate? I ask a question. Suppose you put a big advertisement, HNB put a big advertisement today saying we are giving 10% annual rate for your FD. What is your effective rate for that deposit? How much? Come on, come on. Now, okay, I'll go back again. Take this example. Okay, now with this column, they have a 12 months. Now this is 24. So one column, they say 12 months. Right? First column, they say 10%. Right? For an example. What may be the annual rate? I'll ask a simple question. Now this advertisement, they put 12 months here. Now they started with 24, 36, 48, 60. So they put example, right? Example, 12 months, 6%, for example, at maturity. What the figure comes in the last column? Come on. What's the figure should come in the annual figure? If the maturity for 12 months is 6%, what need to be put by the HNB in the advertisement as annual column? That same as effective rate, right? That also 6%. For annual deposits, effective rate is same as the maturity figure. For 1 year fixed deposit, the maturity is equal to annual effective rate. Haridhar, right? That's what I want to highlight. Now, stated published rate, example, for 1 year fixed deposit is 10. The annual effective rate of the interest is also 10%. Right? Okay? But the annual effective rate of interest rate is lower than 10% for more than 1 year deposit. It is equal to the 1 year deposits and more than the 10% less than 1 year deposit. හරිද? මේක හොඳට ඔළුවේ දාගන්න. There are so many questions can ask. Now, it's like this. Simple. Right. 10% annual rate equal to annual effective rate, or sometimes we call AER, also 10%. Remember. Suppose annual rate for more than 1 year, this is 1 year, right? More than 1 year, annual effective rate less than how much? 10%. Remember, 10 than 10%. So you say 10% annual rate for less than 1 year. So your annual year effective rate is what? More than 10%. Remember this story. Now, why I'm telling you, you will see now. Clear that? Understood? What is the principle? 1 year deposits, annual effective rate is same as annual rate. Right? If your annual rate is 10%, right? If you go for more than 1 year, that means for a 2 year, so your annual effective rate is less than 10%. If you go for 3 months deposits, savings or whatever, less than 1 year, your annual effective rate is more than. Now say I have given you example, right? Semi-annual you daily is more than that 10.47. Clear that? Harida, understood? Okay, Puta, understood. I need a response from you. Malmi, okay? Malmi, clear? Shawan,
Yes, sir.
okay? Right? Malmi, okay? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay, sir.
Everybody, any questions? Then I'm going to ask from you so many questions on this, not with my subject, with your commercial banking subject. Right. Let's look at it now. Right. Okay. Now, advantages and disadvantages of long-term deposit we discussed. No? Right. Okay. Right. Can you answer to this now? This is not my subject, right? I'm teaching commercial banking. Now, this is the question came on commercial banking, March 2017. What is the answer? If a bank offers 6% interest rate payable monthly for saving deposits, 6% annual rate, the effective interest rate is based on this theory. What may be the answer? Can anybody tell me?
See.
A, B, C, D. Now
More
look at
than 6%.
more than 6%. Very good. Right? Now you see the rationale, right? Okay, this is your March 2000, not my subject, right? Commercial banking subject. Okay, what's the answer? More than 6%. Why? Because it's less than 1 year. Right? Savings account is less than 1 year. Again, now you see the commercial bank paper. Commercial banking, September 2018. What is the answer? If a bank offer a 1 year fixed deposits to pay interest at 10% monthly, the effective interest rate is
10%.
now you look at it when you're going to get your month figure, your interest is getting not after 1 year. Got my point? Now, question. Now you're going to get your interest is when? How often you're going to get it? Not at the maturity. If it is only maturity only, you will get 10%. But you are going to get interest. How often? How often you are going to get? Monthly you are going to get it. Right. Therefore, your answer should be
More than
again
10%.
like earlier. Less than or more than?
More than 10%.
Huh?
More than 10%.
More than 10%. Clear? Understood now, everybody? Right? Clear there? ඔක්කොටම තේරුණාද දැන්? Any doubt? මොන හරි තියෙනවා අහන්න, right? You are getting monthly. Suppose if a bank offers a 1-year fixed deposit to pay interest of 10%, what is the effective rate at the end of the year is how much? Suppose the same question asked like this. If a bank offer a 1-year fixed deposit to pay interest at 10%, what is the, without mentioning monthly, what is your effective interest rate?
10%.
10%. Now I will ask the same question. If a bank offer a 1-year fixed deposit, pay interest percent for 10% quarterly, the effective interest rate is, what's the answer?
More than 10%.
More than 10%. Biannually, more than 10%. If a bank offer a 1-year fixed deposit to pay interest 10% annually for 2-year deposits, what is effective interest rate? More than 2
Less
years.
than 10%. Less than 10%.
10%. Good. Right now you see you can answer any questions on this. You need to remember this. Right? And remember, according to the central bank, we are going to learn customer charter later on. So whenever you advertise deposits, interest rate advertisement, you need to show the customers what? Effective interest, annual effective interest rate. It's a compulsory. Right? Otherwise people get confused. Now somebody can put like this, 5-year. Some banks say, I am giving 30% interest rate at maturity. Some bank can say, 5-year, I am giving you 17% annually. Who gives the highest interest rate to customer? So you have to work it out, right? But for the say, now say one bank is saying, right? One bank put a big advertisement and say, 5-year, 30% interest rate at maturity. 5-year, 30%. Some banks say, okay, 5-year, I give you a 75% AER. So normal average person who don't know already AER, which bank he go? He go to 30%. But actually, remember, here, if you calculated annual effective rate for 30, it's something comes to 17.4% or something. But here, 5-year, this person is giving the highest interest rate than this. But because of 30%, he go and deposit, but ultimately he is getting less than B bank. So therefore, in order to compare apple with apple, you need to compare AER in both cases, annual effective rate. Then you decide factor to go. So what is the determinant factor for when you're going for a long-term fixed deposit? Is what is the determinant factor? You need to calculate annual effective rate. So there's a formula to calculate annual effective rate. But don't worry about much on this, n to the power minus 1. So there is a formula, you can get it, right? But don't worry much on this. Now it's already available in the computer, right? Clear? Interested? Clear? Understood that? Right? Okay. Right. Now, with this, right. With this backdrop, now we are going for today too. Any question for that? I took more time for this, right? I took more time. Clear? Right? Achala, okay, Achala, right? Achala, harida.
Yes, sir.
Right, yeah, okay. Just tell me, right? Okay. So then I will explain. Now, that's what I told you. When you are learning plans management, you are benefited to answer other papers as well. ඒකනේ මගේ හොඳම එක ගලෙන් කුරුළු දෙන්නේ මරන සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක තමයි ඔප්ෂනල් විදියට ඔයගොල්ලෝ තෝරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. right දැන් ඔන්න වැරදන්න බෑ අරක මත ඔළුවේ දාගන්න right. එතකොට determinant factor annual effective rate. Right. With this here, so we are going to today another area. So that is what you call, sorry. The type of clients. Now we are going to discuss with you the investors. Who? Type of customers, investors. You know the general principle. It's right. It's a general principle. Higher the risk, higher the return. So that's the investors is going for that. Right? Higher the return, higher the risk. That's a normal way. The risk එක වැඩි නම් අවදානමත් වැඩි. Clear? So that's a principle. Right. Now we can categorize these three type of we can categorize investors into three type of investors based on their risk appetite. Right now, all the investment in any market is full of risk. Right? Remember that. So therefore, the people who are going to invest their money can be categorized into three broad categories based on their risk appetite. Right? දැන් ඔකට දැකලා තියෙන හිටුවා කොල්ලෝ යනවා අපෝ මේ මම බය නැහැ කොරෝනා මම මාස්ක් එක ගලවගෙන යනවා risk level සමහර අය ඉන්නවා දෙකක් දාලා තුනක් දාලා ෆයිසර් එකක් දාලා යනවා who is that risk averse අම්මෝ අනිත් එක්කලා neutral සාමාන්‍ය ගන්නට යනවා ලෙඩේ ගන්න බැරි විදිහට යනවා so they are risk neutral. Right? Likewise, the investors can be divided into three types. Basically, risk lover, risk averse, and risk neutral. Right? Okay? Right. Now, in 2017 and 2018, there's a famous question. The examiner asks from you, who is a retail investor? Who is a retail customer? What is a retail bank? Likewise, what is corporate bank? What is a retail bank? Right? Likewise, who is a retail investor? Retail investor means the individual investor who buys and sells securities for their personal account, not for the company or an organization. Like a retail bank, retail customer, a retail investor who buys and sells securities for himself, not for any other organization or a company. So that type of customer, we call him as a retail investor. Even though if you are not in your handout, please write down this. Retail investor is a person who buy and sell securities for his own account for individual purposes is called a retail investor. Right. Then we are going to understand, so discuss these three type of investors. Right. I'll explain to you. These three type of investors are risk seeker. That means risk lover. He always going for high risk investment, expecting high return. Now, Risk-taking investor, he's the investor. He's always going for going for what? He's always going for high return, right? Always going for high return. He's a risk lover. What may be the diagram? If you draw a diagram for this guy, you can draw a diagram based on risk lover, right? Or seeker. Always, this is utility, and this is a technical word, but don't worry. But you need to know at least how the shape. This is the shape, right? This is the shape. How you call this type of diagram? How you call? අපි කියනවානේ උත්තල අවතල අරමේ වගේ. How does this sick lovers shape? How you call this?
Parabol.
Huh?
Parabol.
Yeah, parabol කියන්නේ මෙහෙම පල්ලහැට මේල උඩට යනවනේ. නේද? Parabol is going go down and go up. මෙහෙම අර කාච අපි ගෙන ගන්නේ. අපි කියනවා උත්තල කාච අවතල කාච කියලා. ඒ වගේ how you call this shape? Convex, concave shape, right? එතන ඔයගලගේ note එකේ මේකේ නිකන් එතන concave අර මෙහෙම දාගන්න. Concave. How you call? So the risk lover is always have a concave shape, right? But he is going to take risk coming down, but after sometimes going to have the risk, right? So then the next guy, risk neutral, right? And risk neutral investor selects the investment with the highest expected return, right? So he may not going for risk love or seeking. He is always happy. How the diagrams look like then? Same diagrams. Risk neutral investor always go like what? Like this. What this is called? Straight line. Straight line. Right? Utility and the risk. So accordingly, so your level is, it's called straight line. That's a risk neutral. Next guy is the risk averse. How the risk lover mehemana? Risk averse. Ambu. Koma dennoni. Other side of this. So how you call this diagram? How you call this diagram? How you call this diagram? Concave, convex, CONVEX, CONVEX. So risk-averse investor would generally choose the guaranteed payment. Choose the guaranteed payment. He go for investment. Definitely, he needs some guaranteed. Okay. So therefore, risk-averse investors tend to choose safer investments to place their assets or place their money. Now, why I'll explain all these things? Because the next we are going to discuss the type of products. Right? Then you will try to combine the risk attitude with those customers with certain products. Okay, right. Now we learned there are three type of investors: risk lover, risk seeker, and risk averse. සමහර කොල්ලෝ ඉන්නවනේ අර කඳු යනවා පයින්ඩ හදනවා so risk lover එහෙම ඉන්න උනන්දු ගැට්ටෝ කියලා කියන්නේ අපි නේද right so but there are අම්මෝ ඌව ගිහිල්ලා ඔය කඳු නැගලා කඩු කකුල් කඩා ගන්න බෑ අපෝ උතනින් පැනලා හම්බෝ තුවාල කරගන්න බෑ සමහර ඉන්නවා මොනවාරි දෙනවා නම් මං යන්නම් ඒ වගේ ඒක risk neutral right. So the risk averse and risk lover. Most of the time people are talking about risk averse and risk seeker or risk lover, right? Not neutral. So different two type of investors based on their risk appetite, right? Now let's look at it. We go to the certain product and services. Now look at the government bonds. And you know, we have a treasury bills and treasury bonds, right? Now the treasury bills and bonds are guaranteed by the government. I don't want to explain more on that. And are the safest of all the investment. As they are default risk-free, we call them as gilt-edge securities. So we assume there is a zero risk. No, why? Those are be guaranteed by the government. Treasury bills and bonds are tradable securities, which are sold by electronic auction, right? So the yields on treasury bills and bonds are market determined. Right, now let's look at it. What are the main features of these bonds and bills? As I explained to you, default risk-free gilt-edge debt instruments. Now, who usually issues these treasury bills and treasury bonds? Who issued? Come on.
Central Bank.
Central Bank. Who is selling these things? Who are the parties selling these treasury bills and bonds? Through whom you are going to sell these treasury bills and bonds? Come on, you know. Huh? ඔය තින්නේ කයියලා ඒ ගහලා මතක නැද්ද? සමහර කම්පැනි කට්ටිය ගහලා එන ඉෂුව එකක් ගියේ මතකද? How you call them?
Primary dealers.
Primary dealers. Central Bank issue these treasury bills and bonds behalf of whom? කාවෙනුවෙන්ද මේවා Central Bank විකුණන්නේ?
Government.
Government. Right. So who sell these things? Treasury bills and selling are done through the primary dealers. Who buy these things?
General public.
Yeah, that is the investors. Okay, you have understood the concept now, no? Clear? Right. Clear? Right. So what is the treasury bill then? Treasury bill, as you're well aware, it is a common securities that have a maturity period of 1 year. So that means treasury bills are short-term money instruments. Those are marketable money market security. Issued in maturities of 91 days, 180 days and 364 days. So zero coupon securities. What do you mean by zero coupon securities? But treasury bills are sold at discount to face value. Remember these words I'm telling. What do you mean by discount to face value? Because when you're going to purchase, so you don't want to pay, say for an example, for 1,000 treasury bill, face value is 1,000. You are going to purchase this treasury bill not at 1,000 rupees. Then how much? Maybe 900 rupees. So once you matured, it's the value comes to 1,000. That's a face value. So your buying price is 900,000. Your actual after maturity, your value is 100,000. So 1,000 rupees. So therefore, remember the treasury bills sold at discount. Sold at discount. The discount is your 100 rupees. That is the rate. So therefore, remember treasury bills, short-term money market instrument issued in maturities on 91, 182, and 364 days. Right, selling at a discount. Right, and it is a liquid asset. What do you mean by a liquid asset? A liquid asset means easily can be converted to cash. Right? Okay. Right. And issues in today's in 6 plus financial instruments. Earlier, they know that just so only a entry. It's an electronic way issue, right? Treasury bills. Clear? Understood? Right. Let's look at it now. The treasury bond. Treasury bond is a medium to long term securities. So issued are maturities ranging from 2 to 30 years. Earlier it's only 20 years, now it's go up to 30 years. But these treasury bills are issued to customers as an interest bearing securities. How we won't say interest for when you're having the security bond. We never say interest. How you call them? අපි ඉන්ට්‍රස් කියල කියන්නේ එකට තියෙන බොන්ඩ් එකකට අපි කියන වචනයක් ඉන්ට්‍රස් වෙනකොට මොකක්ද ඒ කියන වචනේ? We call them as a coupon rate. What is that? Coupon. Interest කියන්නේ අපි coupon. For treasury bonds, we are paying the interest rate semi-annually or bi-annually. Right? Those are some special features. Treasury bond also tradable, even though it's a long term. Both can be used as what? Securities, as a guarantees, as a collateral. Okay. Now, I ask for a question like this. Right? I will give you a question. Okay. 2 questions I will give you. First question. Before write this one, right? Name similarities and differences. Name similarities and differences of treasury bills and treasury bonds. Name similarities and differences. Similarities and differences between treasury bills and treasury bonds. That's the one, question number 1. Question number 2, give 5 reasons why you as an investor should invest in treasury bills and treasury bonds. Right. Can you answer now or we will answer next week? Answer, right? Question 2. Now you are very thorough. What is the differences and similarities between treasury bills and treasury bonds? And next question, give 5 reasons why you should invest in treasury bills and treasury bonds. If you can answer these 2 questions, you are very much thorough with the treasury bills and treasury bonds. Okay, right. Let me look at it. What are the similarities? Can anybody tell me what are the similarities? සමානකම් මොනවද? treasury bill එකකයි treasury bond එකකයි.
Risk free.
Risk free. So we call both are gilt age securities. Both are gilt-edge securities. Very good. And also gilt-edge, what instrument? These are what instrument? What type of instrument these two instruments are? How you call?
Tradable.
Huh? Ah, yeah, okay,
Tradable.
tradable instrument. Okay, accepted. Tradable instrument, right? What is the type of instrument? How you call these instrument? Okay, correct. Both are gilt-edge, tradable, and debt instrument. Neither. Debt instruments. Debt instrument. Right. Debt instrument. Right. Okay, now you learned three. But I think all are gilt-edge, tradable, debt instrument. Okay. What is? What are the similarities? Good, good.
liquid asset.
Huh? Two more similarities. How the yield is determined? Yield is determined by the market, right? Yield rates are determined by the market, and both are issued in what form?
Scriptless.
Scriptless form. Good. Now you see, so many things you learn. Okay, now tell me the differences.
Period.
Yeah, I hear one. You can hear me. I can. Short term to short term debt instrument. Other one is medium to long term. Less than 1 year, more than up to 2 to 30 years. Right? Issued at 91 days, 182 days, and 364 days, whereas 2 to 30 years.
Zero coupon rate and coupon rate for
Right,
treasury
good.
bills.
How we call that? Zero coupon කියනට වඩා අපි කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Issued at treasury bills are issued at a හරි ඔයා කියන එක හරි. Discount, at a discount, where you, for the treasury bond, you have the coupon rate paid. Interest, the coupon rate is paid how often?
Biannually,
Biannually.
semi-annually.
Very good. Okay. Okay. Is a treasury bills is a what type of instrument? Because of short-term nature, we call them then as what
Liquid.
type of? Yeah. How you call that? What type of instrument we call? We call them as a money market instrument. What is the treasury bond? How you call that instrument? It is a more than 1 year. Then how you call them as capital market instrument. Capital market instrument. Right. Now I think you clear, right? So why you need to invest? What are the 5 reasons or 3-4 reasons? One reason is again gilt-edge. You make sure so you get the return. What else? You can make use as as a collateral, right? It's a tradable, and also you are contributing to the national economy. Why? Treasury bills and treasury bonds are purchased by the government for infrastructure development or activity or whatever, right? So then you look at it from the highway and you have to happy. Why? So your money may be invested there by the government, right? It is a national issue. So some of the good things can be used as a collateral, can use as a tradable, right? You can get a comparatively high interest rate, right? One time it is a tax-free, one times, right? Okay, clear? Now you see, right? Who buy these things? As I explained to you, the investors, right? Okay, having understood that, now we are going for repurchase agreement. Right. Now we told, right? We told treasury bills and treasury bonds, usually treasury bills, are tradable. Are tradable. Now this is what you call repurchase agreements. Now remember this. Now we call them as a repo transaction. Now look at this diagram. The seller may be person A. Lender of money may be the person B. Now, person A, the seller, he's having some treasury bills and treasury bonds. Now, he wants some money. The person who's having the treasury bills and treasury bond, he needs some money. I'll explain to you, you can make use of as a collateral and give it to the B, the lender of money or lender, at a price, and you take the cash. But remember, promise that I will settle the money what I have taken from you and give me back my securities. I'll give this rate and this purchasing price at agreed date. Now, what is a repurchase agreement? මාගාව යම් කිසි වත්කමක් තියෙනවා. අපි හිතමු කාර් එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි හිතමු කාර් එක මම දෙනවා එක්කෙනෙකුට. දීලා මං සල්ලි ගන්නවා. හැබැයි මම සල්ලි ගන්න එක්කෙනාට කියනවා හරියටම මම මේ කාර් එක නැවත වරක් මෙන්න මෙදාට මේ මිලට ගන්නවා. ඒ පොරොන්දුව මත තමයි මං කාර් එක දෙන්නේ. Something like that. So the repurchase agreements are arrangement which involve the sales for cash for securities. In here is the treasury bills as a specified price with a commitment to repurchase same or similar securities at a fixed price on a specified future date. Now, settle it to be right at a price with the agreement to buy back on an agreed future date at a future agreed price. So the difference between the selling price and the repurchase price is the income, interest income to the lender. So that is what you call the repo purchase agreement. If you take it, this is a reverse, we call the reverse repo. That means money lender take from the seller and provided that he will give back the securities back to seller. Right? So we look at it in a more detail. Right. Now let's look at it, the repo transaction on the Tagan. Right? Is the sale of securities together with an agreement for the seller to buy back the securities at a later date is called repurchase agreement. Now look at the diagram. Seller hand it over his treasury bill to the lender and take the money. Provide at maturity date or at the agreed date, I will pay you cash plus the interest rate. That is agreed amount and get my securities back. So that is the repurchase agreement. Right? That is the repo rate. Now the repurchase price. But ආපහු මිලට ගන්න යන මුදල තියෙනවනේ මිල should be greater than the original sales price. දැන් මට lender විකුණන price එක තියෙනවනේ. අපි හිතමු රුපියල් 100ක් කියලා. එතකොට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මම නැවත වරක් lender සල්ලි දෙන මුදල අර විකුණපු මිලට වඩා වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒකනේ යාගේ ලාභය. The repurchase price should be therefore greater than the original sales price. රතු පාටින් තියෙන එකේ price එක විකුණන price එකට වඩා වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ. The difference effectively represent the interest sometimes called, that is the rate we call repo rate. How you call? Repo rate. Right? තේරුණාද? Okay. The party that originally buys the securities effectively act as a lender. මේ security කාරන් ණය දෙන එක්කෙනාට කියනවා lender. The original seller is effectively acting as a borrower. එතකොට seller borrower. ඇයි? ණය ගන්නවා securities දීලා. එතකොට using a security. Clear? Understood?
Sir, during periods, who holds the ownership of the securities?
Who? It's a collateral.
Owns the
Yeah, it's a collateral. Mama, then mama, loan against deposits. Take the example for loan against deposit. I give the money. I give my certificate back to bank and take the money. Then same. Whether a certificate take away water, මොකද්ද දෙන්නේ? අතන කරන්නේ certificate එක ගන්න දෙනවන් same principle. දැන් තේරුණා නේද? මේ treasury bills දෙනකොට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ repo rate. ඉතින් මේක banks වල central bank එකත් එක්ක වැඩිපුර සල්ලි මේ වගේ මාරු කර පාවිච්චි කරනවා. හරි? Clear? Understood? So that is we call repo transaction. The rate we call them as purchasing price, we call them as a repo rate. Understood? Clear? The difference between the selling price of the security and buyback price of the security is the interest cost to the borrower, and always, right, repurchase price is more than the selling price. For the party selling the selling, it is a repo. Right? Now the party on the other end of the transaction is called the buying the security and agree to sell in the future is reverse purchase. Right? Reverse repurchase. Oh, නැවත වරක් එහාට දෙනවා. ඒකට කියනවා අපි reverse repurchase. But usually we go for reverse purchase. Right? Now you see in your exam in 2018, so they'll ask some short notes in your exam. One is repurchase agreement. So what are you going to write there? So you write this more than enough. Otherwise you this one or you draw this one and explain repurchase agreement and what is the repo rate. So that's the answer. It's a more comprehensive answer. Okay, any doubts? It is සමහර ඒවා පුතෝ ඉතින් පාඩම් කරගන්න ඕනේ. Right? Clear? Understood? තේරුණාද? හරි නේද? Ashan, you're okay? Achala? Chat එකක් කරේ වන්න. Right. Okay. Now, any questions?
මේ සානේ රිපෝ ඇග්‍රීමන්ට්ස් ගහන්නේ සානේ බැංක් ෆ්‍රී කස්ටමර්ස් අය නෝමල් ගහනවද එහෙමද?
And not clear.
රිපෝ ඇග්‍රීමන්ට්ස් ගන්න සර්.
Oh.
හෙලෝ. සානේ බැංක් ෆ්‍රී කස්ටමර්ස්
Yeah,
ගහද
yeah,
නැත්නම් මොහේ ඕගනයිසර්?
all are C plus format. So usually banks are doing most of the time with the central bank, right? If they have excess money, so they sell the treasury bills and earn. Now then you know, if you're going to talk in more details, some branches wala idle money තියෙනවානේ. තේරුණානේ දැන් අපි එකනේ කියන්නේ බ්‍රාන්ච් වල idle money තියාගන්න එපා කියලා අපරාධ නිකන් සල්ලි හම්බෙන්නේ නැහනේ. එතකොට මොකද කරන්නේ? treasury department එක ඕගොල්ලෝගේ head office එකේ ඒ හවස එකතු කරන සල්ලි ටික ඔක්කොම overnight දානවා රිපෝ වල. දාලා දවසක පොලිය ගන්න. තේරුණානේ? That is something banks your treasury department or asset department will do. අමතර සල්ලි නැත්තම් ඒකනේ කියන්නේ වැඩිපුර ATM වල ඔබන්න එපා බ්‍රාන්ච් වල තියාගන්න එපා කියලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ මොකද කරන්නේ? common account එකට ගන්නවා. අරන් treasury එකත් එක්ක නැත්තම් central bank එකේ invest කරලා ඒ වලින් දවසේ ආදායමක් ගන්නවා. Right? There's an arrangement on that. Okay? So that's the main functions of a treasury department of your bank. Okay?
සර් රිපෝ ඇග්‍රීමන්ට් එක පීරියඩ් එක වෙනස් වෙනවද ඕන?
නෑ මේමයි. ඒක දැන් ඒක that amount maybe 1 day 2 days that's depend. තේරුණානේ? අපි කියන්නේ අද සල්ලි ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරලා හෙට ගන්නවනේ. දැන් බැංකුවක වැඩිපුර සල්ලි තියා ගන්නවා කියන්නේ idle නේ. එතකොට treasury department එක මොකද කරන්නේ? ඒ ඔක්කොම ටික අරන් ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනවා treasury bills වල මේ sorry රිපෝ කරනවා. ඒකේ අර පොඩි ආදායමක් ගන්නවා. අද දීලා right අපි හෙට ණයක් ගන්නවා. අපව ගන්නවා treasury bills ටික. ඒ වගේ ඒක තියෙනවා. ඒක so is a procedure. So law I mean I have no time to explain all these things, but that is how your branch is, your head office people, treasury department is doing. Right? They are always invested money in a treasury bills for a repo rate and get some income. Daily ගන්නවා. දවසක් තියෙන හිතන්නකෝ සිකුරාදා වගේ ආවනම් right? සෙනසුරාදා ඉරිදා සම්දා දවස් 3-4 නිවාඩුවක් 5ක් විතර එනවනේ. ලොකු සල්ලියක් එනවා එතකොට. Okay? Right. That's a treasury department, one of the main function. Hari. So, right. Okay, now this is again non-bank financial banking question. Out of the total outstanding government security stock, the current threshold applicable for foreign investment in treasury bills and treasury bond. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපි හිතුවොත් එහෙම at any given time then I think some of you may be aware that central bank government need to get a parliament approval for issue more than they supposed to issue. ඒ කියන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවට හිතු විදිහට treasury bill වෙළඳපළට විකුණන්න බෑ. There is a limit. I can't remember the exact limit now. I think 2 billion or something, trillion or something, right? ඊට වැඩිය යනවා විකුණන්න ඕනේ නම් පාර්ලිමේන්තු එකට ගිහිල්ලා අවසරය ගන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මේවා විකුණන්නේ කාටද? මේ treasury bills and treasury bonds are selling to local people. But some of the percentage from the total issues can be taken by the foreigners as an investment. What is the total amount can treasury bills and treasury bond can buy by the foreigners as foreign investors? But it's a very risky. Why? If you foreigners take, if they sell it, so we have a lot of money, foreign exchange money is going out. So therefore, we have limited the issues of treasury bills and treasury bond to foreigners. What is the percentage from the total outstanding amount? Government securities can government security can treasury bill, treasury bond. ඉස්සර තිබ්බ රුපී account එක දැන් රුපී එක නෑ. හොඳේ treasury bill, treasury bond තමයි ගන්න. Right? How much? අපි તો 100ක් කියන total stock එක treasury bill treasury bonds වල 100යි. මේ 100න් කොච්චරක් foreign investor ලා ගන්න පුළුවන්ද? What is the percentage? Earlier it was 10, now it has come down to 5%, right? Total 5% තමයි treasury foreign investment කරන්නේ. Foreign investor ගන්න පුළුවන් only 5% of the total treasury bills and treasury bond quantity. Okay, so some food for some thought for you, right? Okay, now again non-bank financial banking exam. I think you can answer to this question. What's the answer? A party who is authorized to deal with central bank to enter into transaction in government securities directly as a counterparty is who?
Primary dealer.
Huh?
Primary dealer.
Primary dealer. As we discussed earlier, right? Is a primary dealer. Good. Okay. Okay. Now tell me the answer. Now these questions came from SFS, Survey of Financial System. Now you see how many questions I have tried to answer by learning this. A repo transaction is a what type of transaction? There are two parties. One is hand it over, surrender the treasury bill as a collateral and get the money. Right? That's the main initiating. Second one, you need to pay back. But what is initially taking? So the repo transaction is a what?
Borrowing.
Borrowing. Good. Repo transaction is a borrowing. Right. There are others. So report initiated, somebody want money, you know. The borrow කරනවානේ. borrow කරන්නේ මොනවා තියලාද? treasury bills අපයට තියලා. කවුද දෙන්නේ? lender. එතන ගන්න එක්කෙනා කවුද? එයා lending මම borrowing. So the repo transaction is a borrowing. Is a borrowing. Very good. හරිද? Okay. If you understood the repo very well, so you can answer any question. Repo is a borrowing. Very good. It's a SFS question, right? Borrowing. Okay. Now again, SFS. Can you tell me the answer? Treasury bonds are always issued at
Coupon.
coupon. Very good. Okay, I'll ask you the question. Treasury bills are always issued at
Discount.
discount. A. Good. Right. The similar question, right? This is SFS question can ask by in my subject or commercial banking. Okay. Right. Now we are moving to we are come to almost finish, no? Right. About the stock, right? So 1 minute or 2 minutes less. So we will continue this, right? I hope you understood. And very easy now. Stocks also, what type of instrument? Is a money market instrument or a capital market instrument? I'll just ask you one question. Right? We discuss treasury bills is a money market instrument. It's a short term. Right? Treasury bond is a long term. That is a capital market instrument. Likewise, stock is what type of instrument? Is a money market instrument, is a short term or a long term? You can trade, that's a different story. But stock is a, you need to compulsory sell it within 1 year? Not necessary, you know. So therefore, stock also comes under capital market instrument. Right? Stock also comes under capital market instrument. Right? Okay. So we discuss what is stock, what is a common stock, what is a preferential stock, who buys this stock, right? That is what we already know from the customer's point of view, right? Why customer buys stock? What is the gain customer going to get it? What are the advantages of customers to buy a stock? What are the type of benefit stocks can offer to the customer? All right, a risk type risk. If you look at the risk, okay, I asked from you one before I wind up today. What type of customers buy stock? Risk lover, risk averse, usually, or risk neutral, or say two other two, risk lover or risk neutral or risk averse. Who?
Risk neutral.
No, forget about neutral, right? Take the risk averse and risk love or risk seeker. Who's buying the stock? While getting a stock, you are facing a risk. Why? You may have the dividends, the stock price come down, stock price can go up, you won't get anything sometimes. So the risk averse is going to take that risk. නෑ නේද? ඌ ෂුවර් නෑනේ සල්ලි දාලා. හම්බෙන්න පුළුවන් නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So therefore, people who are buying for stock, the speculators, they are usually called them as who? Stock lovers. Now think about the retired person, the retired people or retired person. He got EPF, his final payment to him. අරනේ customer කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා, retired person, right? Customer is one retired person. Recently he got EPF money. Now he want to invest this money. He want to invest the money, maybe 2 million, 3 million. He has two options. He has two options. Stock and a treasury bond or treasury bill. Which one is going? Huh? So I'll give a simple example, right? A person, a
Treasury bill.
Huh?
Treasury bill.
Treasury bills. Why? And he is the retired person, mean the final amount is retired is EPF, the ultimate money. ඒක විතරයි නේද? සකල මනාවට ඊට පස්සේ හම්බෙනවද සල්ලි? නෑ. එතකොට මේ මිනිස්සයා මේ සල්ලි ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න යනවද රිස්කි තැනක? නෑ. එහෙමනම් එයා යන්නේ කොහෙටද? And he is the risk seeker. He is going for less risk. Stock is a risky thing. But treasury bill, you are guaranteed the payment. So retired person, therefore, is the risk averse person. He is going for products which are showing some sort of less risk characteristics. Right? So why we learning these stocks? Commercial papers, then we are going to discuss about debentures, venture capital things, then why we going for all these products? You need to understand the type of product, what is the risk involving in this product, who is going to buy this product. So through this exercise, what you are trying to understand, first you try to understand what are the characteristics of a features of a product, and first then you look at what are the qualities and interest about certain type of investor or customer, right? What are his risk neutral, risk averse or risk lover, what type of product he is going to buy. First you look at the two characteristics of two aspects. One is for instrument, other one for people, and then we are trying to match these things. That is why we are learning all these things, right? What type of customers buy what type of product. Okay, so we are continue next week, the next one with these other papers like derivatives very briefly and some complex financial product, and then we move into the next type of clients. We call them as a borrowers. What type of credit products they are going to buy? Housing loan, import loan, overdraft, pledge loan, auto loan. What else they're going to buy? Then we are going to discuss about credit cards, then personal loan, then what else? Microfinance loan, pawning. So those are the things we are going to discuss next week. What are the characteristics of these loans? And what are the risks to the customer and what are the risks to the bank? What are the features or benefits or characteristics of product? Right, now you understood, no? So we are going to learn, we have already learned deposit products. We are now learning the investment products, and we are going to discuss the borrowing products as well as, and then finally we are moving to the services like how we use payments methods like RTGS, slips, SEFT, then the QR, things like that. Payments, customers, what type of payment services customers are taking, right? And then after that we are finishing this part, and then we move into legal, customer protections and legal aspect, where we are going to discuss ombudsman, then we are going to discuss about the insurance scheme, right? And then deposit insurance scheme, ombudsman, customer charter, parat execution for something, right? And then things like that, and dormant account, abandoned properties, controls, internal controls, something we are going to discuss. Okay, I hope you understood. So please go through your note, and then we try to explain next week the remaining of investor products and as well as the borrowing product we start next week. Okay, I hope you understood, right? Clear? Right? So don't miss classes. As finally also I want to tell you, you are going to have the exam maybe somewhere in October 28. If you are not registered for exam, the last days is 15th of August. So try to send your application to enroll as sit for the exam, and there are earlier batch also sit with this. So we may have some extra classes during the weekdays evening, maybe 6 to 8 or something, because of we don't have much time otherwise, because we want to finish October 17th the entire lecture series. So all lecturers must have additional classes. So therefore the IBS will inform you when you are going to have the other extra classes. Okay,